Welcome everybody to Chi Horsing. I am Alexandra König, and today I want to show you some wonderful relationship gifts given by my horses. Those gifts develop themselves naturally in the everyday handling around the stable. 15 years ago, I started to study horse language more intensely. Why, you might ask? Because I wanted to find for myself an end to functioning, coercion, obedience, circumstances I had grown up in and unconsciously kept through my everyday behavior in my life. Horses showed me a new world. At Saliho School, I pass on all my experiences and findings with a variety of horses. I am happy to be able to share with you today from my collection of videos from my everyday life with my horses and explain what I do, so you might get some inspiration and will find answers to one or the other question. Through the years, I was craving more security and was very happy that I was able, through learning horse language, to not only get more security myself, but also give my horses their important need for security. The horses understood me mentally and physically from the beginning, so a world for me and my 8 horses full of devotion, trust and freedom emerged. The most important foundation for horses is movement and social interaction. I make that possible for my 8 horses through a herd of variety of horses of all ages and a big enough enclosure with access to quite some land. I do not give them much entertainment myself, but they also do not necessarily need that. Me experiencing so much joy of teaching students does not always let me find time for my own horses, but I decided to teach what I have learned about horse language, and therefore many other horses and humans are able to also experience healing relationships. While I maybe only step into an arena with my horses 5 times a year, the gifts my horses give me originate in the short but very conscious interactions in the stable daily, or in the meadow, or sometimes by walking in the area around the stable. My horses always trust me, no matter if a new fearful situation or old known areas. They orientate exclusively on my body language and my radiating energy. They know I would never ask more of them than they can give. They also know I would not ask anything from them which I have not checked sufficiently beforehand, whether I can demand it in a peaceful and life-affirming manner and in the interest of the horse. It might sound extreme to some of you, and maybe it even is. I live extremely peacefully. Today I have different goals than in the past. I rather let go of things than to forcefully take from another being and risk that I would experience the same thing happen to myself again. We all have a choice. Therefore, Chi Horsing is not against anything else. Chi Horsing friends all search for a peaceful way with horses, with themselves and the world. But now to the part what tips I would like to share with you. Here you can see me again with my Frisian stallion Finn. In this video, he's approximately 1.5 years old and still quite insecure. I want to take him back to the stable walking a longer way round. You can see that he stops and I just continue walking and just shortly pull on the halter to just tell him, let's continue. People quite frequently ask me why I do that, also with horses that made stopping and standing a behavioral dysfunction and made it a pattern to not continue walking. From a horse psychological point of view, it is like this. When a horse is afraid, like here Finn, you can see very clearly how he bores himself into the ground and lets himself fall back. Then it is very important that I continue further and not look at him, because he is not the danger is ahead of us. He sees a cyclist with a dog and he doesn't want to go any further, and I have to tell him, we go on, it's not a problem. If somebody gets eaten, it's me first. You will never see in a natural horse herd in a potentially dangerous situation that the young horses will be sent forward while the older, experienced horse members walk in the back. By the fact that Finn can see again and again that I go ahead and see that I just go on and do not raise any alarm at all. Say hello to the person and really don't make a problem of it. Through that he learns that we go towards everything, no matter what it is. In this moment I did something important. I changed the rope to the right hand because I knew exactly that the horse would choose the shortcut and we would collide. I avoided colliding and the horse can now move past me. He now shakes briefly his head and says, "Phew, that scared me, but thank goodness I was allowed to take the shortest way through the corner and my owner left me on a loose rope, so I can move and turn around again and again and see the obstacle from behind. And even if I want to trot, I'm even allowed to do that. My owner always stays relaxed and calm. I only have to give a little impulse on the rope and say, 'Finn, my friend, stay connected to me and stay with me. It is not such a big deal.' I praise him and also touch him for a second to calm him down, but I make sure that he doesn't push me away. I praise him again and tell him, 'You are a great boy, such a big stallion.' And that is enough to make this horse confident as fast as possible. Of course he's excited and looks to all sides, but you can also see how he starts to pay attention to me and also confidently walks forward. Now you can see me on a bit of an older video with a horse that did not want to go forward anymore. In this sequence I try to demonstrate with a whip to show which fears this horse signals right away when sent forward. The trust is immediately broken. A horse becomes suspicious of what we are waving back there if we want it to move forward and not move forward ourselves, so that it can recognize us as a role model, and we're signaling that we are ready to face the danger. We will still be able to move the horse forward, but the relationship will always have a different quality than the one where the human shows the horse where to go. Here you can see very clearly how quickly the gelding tries to break out and turn again. It makes a big difference if I always make the horse go forward and send it first. The horse doesn't like that. The horse doesn't understand where to go. There is no purpose for the horse in leaving the stable. It will always try to cut my way like this, to turn around, to refuse it, and if we're unlucky, maybe even to kick after us. We can do all of this, and it probably originates in some method. However, it does not originate from horse psychology and has nothing to do with horse language. Here I just go forward first in front of the horse, and now everything is fine for the gelding. He has enough rope, he can see where I'm going, and even though there's a car with a couple of human beings, I just walk past it in a relaxed way and tell him, "Come on, my friend. Just continue walking behind me." I do not look at the horse and I take it as natural to walk through the gap between house and car. Due to the long enough rope and enough distance behind me, he trusts me and confidently walks with me through the area. Here you can see me again with my horse Finn. That a 2-year-old horse walks behind his human like that, only on a neck rope, I would not have been able to achieve through disciplining methods. The horse would have way too much fear and could easily pull its neck out of the neck rope and go wherever it wants to go. Finn really loves to eat, even though he just comes from the meadow where, to be honest, not much grass is to be found anymore. He would immediately stop and stand and start eating. You cannot blame him, and he still follows my body language. He follows my quick movement and my inviting hand towards him, which tells him, "Come with me, Finn." There he wants to turn real quick and says, "This is the wrong direction. We are walking away from the stable, not towards it." And it is enough that I say, "No, my friend, it's okay. We're going to continue walking. We are going to take the longer path to the stable today." I give him a quick acoustic signal and Finn is immediately back with his attention towards me. That is the security in our relationship. I, of course, have to be aware, conscious and present. It is not given for free. It is also not transferable. Would I give Finn or one of my other horses over in someone else's hand, and that person would not be as present and clear in their body language, not as friendly and conscious in the relation and connection, my horses would do whatever they want. It is always a choice. Do I want to raise a horse to obedience and submission, and they might let themselves be moved by everybody? Or do I want to experience the depths of the relationship with a confident horse that is encouraged to have a say? One of the big subjects of my students is working on the hoofs. Especially with young horses or other problematic horses, they experience difficulties while introducing the horse to the farrier. It cannot be the mission of the farrier or hoof orthopedics to teach a horse to work on the ability of the horse to easily give its hoofs. I understand that. It is hard work to work on hoofs, and it is truly the responsibility of the owner to practice often enough so the horse stands perfectly when the farrier visits. Here I'm working with Mook, totally free. Of course, I have the rope over his back, so I would be able to stop him from walking away. I also have treats and praise him because he doesn't understand why I pick up his hoofs, and even less he would understand if I would tie him up and pick up his hoofs even longer, and therefore start with short sequences and connect it with treats. It is very important that you have understood the horse psyche and also have a bit of a feeling for the horse's behavior, or horses can easily turn into little monsters around treats. If they just sniff around in your pockets for carrots, they will not be able to concentrate on the real tasks. Here I show Mook a delicious carrot, and at the same time I take his hoof and say, "See Mook, have a look, wonderful, if you give me the hoof you get a carrot." And I immediately let go of his hoof. I praise him, ask him to come forward again, give him a carrot, change sides, give him a carrot, and tell him, "Just give me a hoof," and I try to put it up on the stool. Even if he does not put the hoof on top, he still gets the carrot, and even though the stool falls, he does not get frightened. That's because he trusts me, and because I put so much conscious peace in this practice. If horses have the free choice of moving, and it's not right away about trimming the hoofs, but you do it in a playful way, you mostly won't have any issues later with trimming the hoofs. At the moment where I truly trim the hoofs, I tie the horse to a pole and give them hay chops, mixed with carrots, and keep the horse busy for quite some time. Since we practice freely to give hoofs, it is not an issue for them to hold the hoofs up for longer periods. I'm sitting on a little wagon. I can easily move back and forth without influencing the horse too much with my movements. A wagon like that is easily built at home. You can buy a small board with rolls on the bottom at a hardware store, and if you build a box on top, a board to the side, and a stool in the middle, you have wonderful equipment with which you can ride around every horse. If a horse pulls a hoof away, then you do not have to get up again, which is heavy for the back or will give you pain in the knee, like in my case. You can stay seated, and it's easier manageable strength-wise. If a horse pulls the hoof away or moves around a little, I'm way quick with my little wagon, quicker than if I would just stand and I needed to move to the side. Because every jerky jump to the side, even if it was caused by the horse by pulling away its hoof, it is more difficult for the horse to remain calm. The fact that I sit on this little wagon and that I only rock back and forth and that I'm very calm and that I never complain, never get loud, but that I just do my job gives the horse a big amount of trust. Therefore, the horse does not cause any disturbance when the farrier visits. If you are still in the mood to continue watching, I will also show you a little experiment with my Frisian Finn. Here I pick him up from the herd and I have to very slowly and consciously check where he is standing. When I get one of my horses, all of the horses would like to come, and that is not always easy. I give Finn a sign with my hand and show him with moving towards him and mentally connecting myself with him so he understands that I mean him. All the other horses are watching where I'm going, what I'm doing, and I have to walk a bit slower to deceive them a little, and at the same time I'm showing Finn that he better comes outside of the meadow so I will be able to get him by himself out of the enclosure. Now he has already discovered me and is going with me. Of course, little Mook also comes along. I have to hurry up a bit and tell Finn he has to come a little faster. At the front of the other exit, my two other horses have already positioned themselves and of course want to cut him off and come out with me. My extended arm with the whip says quickly, "No, you stay inside because Finn has to pass." I have to send them away too, otherwise they would push their way in. They are older and Finn would no longer dare to go with me. Now Finn has also understood that I'm taking care of him and clear the way for him. Of course, I have to go to the riding arena very quickly so that Islero doesn't catch up with it and he ends up being sent away. While I let Finn climb over the poles, I just walk without an agenda through the arena to just signal him. Just stay with me, my friends, and listen to what I will ask of you. He also gets a treat, so he knows what he is doing it for, because a horse does not see any purpose to do anything in the arena. I also try to include in those calm and united moments practices of giving the hoofs. Everything I do with my horses I start practicing in liberty. Only if I'm able to see the horse's reaction in liberty, I will get honest feedback about what is not right, what is wrong with my body language, which positions I have to choose so the horse feels truly comfortable. Here I asked Finn for the first time for some lateral movement, and he immediately knew what I asked of him. My whip swings slowly, and because I open the room for him, he offers it himself and also bending his head quite nicely. That is a big gift, since we have really never done this before. I have to be conscious to choose the moment when the horse is truly ready to engage in the activity. Now the first experience Finn has is how beautiful it is to move along with me. In lightness and harmony he follows me, with his head fully turned towards me. I did not need to pull and push to get this far. Now we're going to get to the little experiment. I wanted to record for you one day later how the horse reacts if I put a halter on. In that moment when I start to do the exercise with the halter, you will see immediately how he is going to react. A little bit of hectic is going on since many flies are around us, but Finn lets it happen, and I also do not handle the halter super sensitive. A little bit of normal or stronger touch in a conscious way is fine, or else the horse will be too sensitive in the end. He's already asking a little bit for treats, since he knows they will get them. I have to pay attention that I do not leave the discipline out of sight. Finn follows naturally along, and I also ask him now to please stand calmly and stop for a second, because I would like to ask of some lateral movement of you again. And in the moment he starts walking, have a look now. He's gone with his attention, and now I have to restrict him and tell him, stop Finn, please stay with me. Have a look again what I'm asking of you. He turns with his head away from me, and since he knows what I'm asking from yesterday, he still walks along, but his head is straight forward. The horse wants to rather follow the rope than naturally and beautifully bend his head towards me. I also stop at this point again, and you may forgive me to not show this any longer. He also shakes his head and says, "Pah, that was weird, I didn't like that." He loses his attention immediately and thinks if he even should continue along with me. Then I walk with him into the build-up gate, give him a treat, and try for the first time to send him backwards. I tell him, "Come on, my love, go backwards. We cannot access this gate forward, only backwards." I also tap him onto his chest, and I only work with touch language at such a close distance. He also understands it and moves backwards, because he understands that it doesn't go forward. With very little touch and very little tools did the horse understand what I asked him to do, and with that I end the session of the day. Now I have to ask him anything for at least 1 to 2 weeks, so he unlearns the experience on the halter. It is not a problem to later on also do all the exercise on the halter as well, but it is important to the horse to first truly work through the whole practice in liberty, so the horse understands it can move freely and express itself until I, the human being, have fully understood which body language and energy this individual horse exactly needs, and also what I have to change inside myself and what the horse needs to freely offer itself to me. My horses like this one, my 15-year-old Islero, love working with me, even up to high age. It does not matter how long I do not work with them, they always enjoy themselves. With the sticks, I did not condition my horse. With those sticks, I can simply bring my energy into flow and show the horse where to move. I can stabilize the shoulder if desired, or set boundaries for the horse. I'm not allowed to collide with the horse though. The horse always needs to have the possibility to express itself freely and move. Here you see us during a time at a different stable, and I'm riding my horses for the first time after 1 year of not riding them. Islero is seeing this area for the first time. I can also take Shakira as a lead horse, and still my horses follow me on the loose bridle. Bitless, I'm always riding with a bithane side pole. It is very subtle, and my sensitive Islero likes it a lot. As a saddle, I always choose a treeless saddle, just as this one from Freeform. With the saddle, the horse can lose or gain weight, and it still does not put pressure on the shoulders when I do not ride for a while. Of course, I do not put a lot of strain on the horse on the first ride. I just take a small round in the area to see if it was still possible to communicate in the lightest manner. You see how easy it is to ride this horse, even though he arrived in my life when he was already 10 years old and had a lot of problems. This is only possible for me because I built up a relationship according to horse language. Behind the tree, you can see, stands a different horse, and even though the horses were not able to see it very clear, none of the horses were frightened. The way I sit and my inner peace tell the horse to just walk on. I communicate with Islero almost only through the center of my body and our mental connection. Even though Shakira starts trotting next to Islero, he stays calm when my body says he should just continue walking. When they stop and react to my subtle hand move, I give them a treat. I love my horses, and therefore I also reward them. A lot of humans are against it, but that everybody has to decide for themselves. I know that my horses would never just do that for the treats. They do it for me and out of our deep connection. The treat is just an on-top reward on the amazing relationship. Can you see how wonderful those two trot with me in the first time after 1 year in an unknown area? I wish you from the bottom of my heart that you can also build such a relationship with your horse. In my online seminars, I teach you everything about horse language that humans need to know. In my live seminars, you have even more the possibility to practice with me personally and a group where everybody brings their videos and where everybody shows themselves truthfully and where we can trust each other. This way, it is even nicer to learn, and I would be happy to have you in our wonderful village Dorfreit in the area of Oberbayern. Here my gelding starts to speed up a little because my mare says, "Oh, on my left are really nice horses, and I still only need to put myself a little bit heavier into the saddle and give a little stronger signal on the rein." And already my gelding slows down. When we are able to be at a point where we are able to look at our flaws, that we are not afraid of it anymore, to embarrass ourselves, and are not afraid of not being able to do something, then we have the chance to truly grow. 2 days later, you can see me with my mare Shakira, which I'm riding all by herself for the first time in this area. She is so wonderfully connected to me. I only have to move the reins upwards a little bit and she starts trotting. When I put the reins back down, the horse slows down, and on the signal of tilting my pelvis, the horse even stops. It is so wonderful to communicate with your horses in such a fine way. I wish you the best from the bottom of my heart and a lot of joy with your horses on your path.